Says we are live. We'll give it a little bit. Let everybody jump on. How you doing this evening, sir?
I am doing well. How are you?
I am living the dream as long as you don't wake me up.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, hopefully everybody can see us and hear us well out there. Hope everyone out in the chat is doing well and their families. Everyone is safe and healthy and living life and having fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, 17 is going to be out this evening. He will be back tomorrow, so I'm sure I'll have to say that about 1,500 times tonight. But you know, I just figured I'd get that out of the way. Go ahead and I'll kick off some questions. Cody asked, he bought a new Scorpion, and he's looking for a trigger. He heard the triggers were kind of horrible, and wanted to see what we thought about that. So, what do you think about a Scorpion trigger?
I don't know that I would say they're horrible. They're definitely heavy. There's no doubt about that. But when you get into that type of platform, the triggers are oftentimes heavier, especially out of the box. There are certainly some good options for triggers, or a good option for triggers right now. HP Industries. We both had some experience with that. The one issue I found with HP Industries, there is a spring. It's the return spring. Has to be in exactly the right place. If it's not, it can be a little wonky and the trigger will not return properly. It'll be a slow trigger, and sometimes you'll have to pull it back out. So you have to kind of be thoughtful about how you take it apart, put it together, get all the parts in there, and how they line up. Once that's figured out, I mean, it's fine. I noticed there to be a difference with the HP trigger, but I didn't necessarily think it was that big of a difference. I don't know.
Yeah. I've got the HP Industries trigger and charging handle and all their stuff on mine, and I like it. I do prefer it much better than the stock one. And KS is exactly right about that little spring. We did actually have that happen when we were shooting it. So you have to pull it over and lock it down, just make sure it's in the perfect spot. But I enjoy the trigger better than the stock trigger. And he's right. It's not like earth shattering, but it is better. So I think, if you've got the funds, I would probably do it. Now, from what I hear, there is one that's coming out that is even better. And there's a couple of testers testing it. I'm not one of them. They can't talk about it. They can't even say the name of it. And it was prior to the COVID. And I guess the COVID has shut everything down for the company that was making it. So I have no idea who it is, but they said it is awesome. So if you want to wait a little bit, shoot it stock and see what you think about it. And then if that trigger becomes available and it's tested and, people can report on it, then that might be the one you want to get. So that's kind of how I would look at it. So let's see here. I don't know what, Donnie is saying something. Johnson Gear, I am watching live, so you better tell KS he may have to go solo. Okay, yeah, I've been in contact with Donnie quite a bit. He actually owns something now that I actually used to have. I sold it to him and transferred it to him, so he is enjoying, or going to be enjoying it now. And he said that every time, I guess, he doesn't watch live, something happens, but when he watched live, everything works great. So here we go.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, because the last time he came on live, my camera went out that one time. So he said he jinxed me. Let's see here. On the, and we'll go ahead and just jump into it. Have you seen the new Ford Bronco?
I have indeed.
What do you think about it?
I think it looks awesome.
Yeah. I'm not too keen on the Sport. I knew they were coming out with the Sport, which is they're calling it the mini Bronco. I knew that they were coming out with that too. And I had seen this one quite a bit up close for a long ass time, but not completely put together because I couldn't. I had to sign an ND on that deal. But it's a really cool vehicle. I think it's going to sell like hotcakes. And it's definitely going to give Jeep a huge, huge run for their money. It's got quite a bit of features and stuff that everyone was looking at. I'm really impressed with the suspension package on it, the way that it's offered now. So I think it's going to be pretty cool. And I'll be interested, when the first one comes in, I'll be able to play around with it and stuff and see what I think. But I think it's going to sell pretty cool. And they're doing really cool color options too. I don't know if you've seen a lot of those, but they're offering all kinds of good stuff. Yes, 2-door, 4-door, all that good stuff. So
I will say, and this is a gun channel, not a car channel, but giving Jeep a run for their money, probably not. Jeep has been around forever, very successful. Those things, I mean, I still would love to have a 4-door, Rubicon, something like that. That'd be a ton of fun. But they're so expensive. But the Bronco for enthusiasts will be great. I think Jeep will always be Jeep.
Yeah, Jeep. I mean, Jeep's not going to go anywhere. But what I'm saying is there is a lot of anybody that owns Jeeps. I've owned Jeeps. I was with them for a long time, you might say. So they have their issues. Jeep people know the issues of the Wrangler and the Rubicon. But this, if it all works correctly, a lot of the issues that they have, these have been, Ford has attempted to work them out. We'll see how this goes because we don't know yet. But I think it's going to give people a different option. I guess if you're a Jeep person, something different to look at that's comparable. Put it that way.
Yeah, there you go.
This is actually something we haven't spoke about a lot. And I think that, where'd it go? Here it is. All right. KS and Big J, feelings about the Vaultec gun safes. What's your opinion on those?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but these are ones, or at least the larger Vaultec ones. I think I have a little one that came with a Hellcat from Springfield, but the larger ones you kind of put together. They're a little thinner metal, but they're modular, right? Aren't those the ones?
Yeah, some of them have the biometric finger stuff, and Coley and DeWar and some other people, and it is the little version like you got with the Hellcat. So
yeah. So I prefer a standard big boy type safe. That's a little bit more up my alley. But the Vaultecs, I mean, they look pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I've played around with them. They were at a grand opening where I really got to play around with them and talk to the guy. I think they have a purpose. Like if you do have young children and you need a gun safe, like maybe on your dresser or something like that, that could be an option. Matter of fact, Liberty makes a small one. It's actually bigger than the Vaultec, or it's one of their bigger ones. They have those offerings where you can put them on your nightstand and stuff like that, and maybe put 2 or 3 guns in it or extra mags or whatever you want. But I think if you have small children, that's an option. You always want to keep the gun safe and keep it away from kiddos. And if that's what you're into and that would serve your purpose, by all means, get it. It's whatever works for you. I just do your reviews, check them out. A lot of them I've seen, I mean, it would take a simple flathead screwdriver and you could pop them open. I don't think you can on that one, but I don't know. I mean, I could get into anything if I had time. So, but, and there are some creative children and young people out there. So.
And there definitely are. Now, if you're maybe in an apartment, you have just a closet to work with, something like that, and you still have a way to secure it, that might be the way to go, especially because it might be easier to take apart and move a little bit more frequently than a larger safe. But for the money, because they're not cheap. I mean, they're, I think, $1,000+, and then all the accessories and everything else.
Yeah.
You get a pretty nice safe for $1,000. So, I mean, food for thought.
Yeah, no, I agree with all that. I've even seen, they're not, they're basically just children proof. I've seen those, and you could even put it up in a closet and bolt it to a shelf, just screw it into the shelf. So it just, couldn't be pulled off or knocked down. So, let's see here.
DC has a loaded question for us.
Exactly. All right, let's see here. How much do lock grips help compared to the stock rubber stock grips? And which lock grips are the best for my PO1? Love my new PO1, by the way. What's your opinion, sir?
First and foremost, congratulations on the PO1. It's an awesome gun. I like it quite a bit. But as far as, I mean, lock, the lock is it for CZ as far as I'm concerned, with the exception of the P, 10 SF, that sort of thing. But otherwise, I think every CZ deserves a set of lock grips. I'm a huge fan of the thin checkered. I don't have quite as big hands as Big Johnson does, but they seem to, between the texture and slightly thinner grip, it seems to fit just right for me on whatever gun it is. I run that on the TSO, the Shadow 2, PO1, the SPO1 Shadow Orange. I mean, all of them. In fact, I just picked up a set of lock grips, wraparound grips for my my Walther PPQ steel frame. Some blue ones that match the trigger, and they look fantastic. They feel great. So I mean, Lock does an incredible job, worth every penny, and they've got a bunch of different options. You like some other options?
Yes, I'm a huge Lock fan, Lock grips fan. I've got them on all my CZs. I've got them on 1911s, 2245s. Gosh, got them on everything, and I really like their pistol stands a lot too. I prefer, and even on my 1911 grips now, I have really big hands. A lot of people don't, but even on my 1911s, I have Jason and the guys actually make them thicker, so they're not even a standard thickness. You can get an extra large thickness, or they can make them thinner, or medium, however you want it. So I prefer the thicker for the 1911s, and then for the CZs and other things, I prefer the palm swells. I get the heavy, aggressive texture, the most aggressive they make. That's what I know. They know me. They just make them that way. I don't even have to say it anymore, because I don't care if you're sweaty, bloody, muddy, whatever. They will not move in your hand. Hence the name Lock. So I'm a big, big fan of them. And as far as the rubber stock grips that come on them, they suck. And I'll just tell you why. They wear. I mean, like, you can shoot with them. Gosh, I think when I shot with first set of my SPO1s, I think on the corners down on the very bottom, I had already worn part of the rubber off, like just at one range session. You could see it actually just looking funky. So they just don't hold up. And with heat that we have here in Texas and other areas, and against your body all the time, that's not what you want against you, because they're going to wear out quicker, and they absorb everything. Polymer and stuff, or the rubber, can absorb and hold bacteria. So think about the G10s. You pop them off, use Dawn dishwashing soap and scrub pad. You just scrub them off, let them dry, or hit them with compressed air, pop them right back on, you're done. So they will clean up and look super nice, and they really don't wear. I mean, I've been shooting mine I've got several sets, but I've been shooting them a lot, and I mean, they just will not wear down like rubber will. So
yeah, and their customization options are fantastic. Even just, I like the liner, just the little back liner with the little pop of color is kind of fun. Yeah.
And the inlays are awesome. I know you've got some inlays. I do too, like where they can put the Texas in it. Now, of course, those are specialty custom grips and a lot more expensive, but and you can use my code if you want. It's BJ or BGJJ 10. So it's Big Johnson Guns and Gear 10, all capitalized, and I'll save you 10% off anything you buy from them, stands, whatever, save you some money. But they're awesome grips. I mean, I really enjoy them. And, comparing them to others, I've had VZs, and I had Hallwicks or something. It's another brand of G10. And you get even tightening, you get a little bit of play. And with Jason's CAD system, I mean, there's no movement. So once they're in there, they're in there. So
Yep.
Can't go wrong with them. All right, let's see here.
Indy Irish had a good question just a few moments ago. Do you mind?
Probably blew right past it.
Yeah.
Blew past it.
You maybe did. I can read it out loud.
There it is, right here.
Okay, and it's not to get killed, just so you know. It is milled. I did have to ask him about that. What are you trying to say, Indy? So there are some good options for that. So a couple of companies that I recommend to people: Boogeyman Customs, Thrash Tactical, Zafiri Precision, and then Legion Precision. I can't guarantee that all of them will do a 48, but I think those are four of the better companies out there to work with. They've got really cool different designs, and they're easy to work with. Their turnaround time's pretty quick, so I would suggest those guys.
Okay. No, Vulcan Machine Works does them, and Fire for Effect does them, and I've used them, and they do great work. So it really comes down to, this is one thing that I get a lot of questions on, and I'm sure you do too. They'll look it up, they'll see what the price is on it, and then they'll shop Joe Blow's Garage or whatever, and Joe Blow's Garage is $45 cheaper. I'm going to tell you, Joe Blow's Garage might not specialize in that, but he's going to try to cut it and mill it. If it's a gun that you're going to depend on and you want it right and you want it perfectly flat and centered, and it's not going to look like it was done with a jail file, I would recommend spending the money with a competent person that specializes in that, so it's done right the first time. I have seen some jobs that, man, I could do it in my garage with a file. I mean, if that's what you want done, and people are actually paying for that stuff. So I would say spend the money, do it right, and you're going to be happy in the long run, and you're not going to have to patch up stuff. So.
Yeah. And a lot of those guys offer a lot of the additional parts to go along with it. And the Cerakoting, most of those guys can do their own Cerakoting, and they can do some crazy designs and colors. So I would agree. I think those are good places to start.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and also the things that I go, or like the places I use and then you use, we keep going back. So they're obviously doing something right, and we like stuff about them. That's just me, but that's my opinions. Let's see here. All right, Richard Jenkins is asking, any other upgrades beside lock grips that you recommend for the Shadow 2?
Extra magazines. That would be it. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Aside from a set of lock grips, kind of like we were talking before, not for me. I just run it.
Depends on how you want to go. There's nothing wrong with the stock trigger. It's actually better than most. However, to get the maximum out of it, I would put like a CZ custom trigger, or not trigger. The trigger's fine. I would put an extended firing pin in it. I would put their spring kit to make it a little better, or Apex makes a really good one too. I've got one in each gun. I really enjoy those. And then I like the milled for the optics, the Shadow 2 optic. That's a lot of fun. It's a great shooter. I've got 2 of those and really enjoy them. It just depends on the extreme you want to go to. And if you want to get it Cerakoted, any mill work that you're going to have to do to the slide for optics or relief cuts or anything like that, it's going to have to be recoated. So just keep that in mind. But just depends. I mean, there's tons of stuff you can do to it. It's just how, if you want to step up and do that, or if you just want it basic. But I would at least do a trigger kit. I've been really happy with both of mine. So it just depends on the extent you want to take it.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, we got to throw this up there. Kathleen saying shadows suck, Glocks are way better.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, and we'll give him his claim to fame here for like 2 seconds. Best upgrade for an S2 is a Grand Power Xcalibur.
I gotta, Baldy, I gotta applaud you. You have stuck to your guns, pun intended, on that for a long time. I appreciate that about you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and they are nice guns. They're just not, they just haven't been jumped on like CZs. Nothing wrong with the gun. I actually shot his Excalibur, and it is a very nice pistol. But would it pull me away from a CZ? No. It just personally wouldn't for me. But I'm not saying it's a bad gun.
Mm-hmm.
Grand Power. Yeah, and I would definitely have to have a high point. That is the problem solver.
Yeah.
One more question, I've been asked a couple of things about this, and I haven't really talked about it, but what is your opinion on all of this stuff that's going on in New York and Portland, Oregon, and stuff like that about the the police attacks and all this stuff?
Well, it's awful. I mean, we proved time and time again that we need law and order. I mean, police need to be kept in check, just like everybody else does. There's no doubt about that. I'd be a fool to deny that. However, we need law and order. That's part of our system of government, right? It's ruled, it's governed, but for the people, by the people, and everything. But you got to have laws and follow rules and everything. Otherwise, it's just chaos.
Yeah.
I think they're. I don't know, man. I think they're going to pay severely.
I mean, I totally agree. Defunding the police department, doing all this other stuff is ridiculous. We do need police officers. We need firemen. We need EMTs. We need all of that stuff. There's accidents. Police don't just, they help with all different kinds of things, not just one particular thing. And granted, yeah, we got to keep everybody in check, but just to start beating a police officer and a lieutenant and a captain over the head with a pipe and all this other stuff, I mean, that's just crazy. And if they're I look at it this way, if they're going to do that to the police, if the police aren't around, they're just going to start doing that to random people. It's just crazy. Well, I won't even say it because it's not politically correct, but stupid things, people win, people who do stupid things win stupid prizes. And I'm telling you, people start getting out of hand, and you're going to see the concealed carriers, and not in New York and not in some of these places where it's, not gun friendly or whatever they claim to be. But in other areas, people start pulling that stuff, and they're going to start picking up people in bags. It's going to be bad. And, I just think people need to keep themselves in check and chill the hell out. And, we can't fix stupid, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah, I agree.
Indy Irish had a question, what do we think about IDPA? Is it good for training?
Yeah, I think so. I'll tell you what, I think any competitive setting is great for training because there's some adrenaline. You're under pressure, you're under time, you might be competing next to somebody else. Any of those experiences to help increase your skills and your confidence, I think, are fantastic things. We do a league thing, and it's IDPA oriented, but not really IDPA at Centerfire. And first, it's a lot of fun. You meet new people that are like-minded, so good group of people. But there's some really fun things, low light scenarios. We bring cars into the range, so you can shoot out of cars. I mean, all sorts of stuff. And this is all indoor. So I think I encourage people to do stuff like that.
Yeah, I think any kind of training or competition or anything is a good thing. So IDPA, and I know that USPSA guys bash IDPA guys and IDPA guys bash USPSA guys. There's always been that little thing going around. But I think if you can just go and have fun with like-minded people, doesn't matter if it's IDPA or USPSA, whatever's available to you, go have fun. That's what it's about. Get the practice in. So,
yeah. I mean, and there are a lot of settings, a lot of kind of league sorts of things like we do that don't have a lot of prerequisite criteria in terms of expensive gear and things like that. I mean, you just show up, a couple of things, outside the waistband holster and maybe a mag pouch or something, and then go to town and have fun. And so it makes it really easy to be able to get into that setting. And then that can potentially be a gateway to other things, it's bigger things too. So, yeah.
No, I think anytime you can get the opportunity, do it. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I agree. Hey, Rebel 79 had a question just a little while ago, and it maybe
Antifa.
No, Rebel 79, not about Antifa.
Well, no, he has another question about that too, or was a comment.
That one
there. Okay, hang on, I gotta go back here. This thing's flying by pretty quick. Okay, here we go. What is the best affordable handgun for a lady for SD or HD either?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and a question that's coming up more and more often. As you guys know, more people are buying firearms, not just guys, but gals as well. So there are a lot of great options out there. If it's for self-defense, I mean, if you're meaning self-defense by way of carry and then also home defense, it kind of gets you into a different spectrum. If it was just home defense, I'd say a larger gun with a rail, generally speaking, would be my recommendation, just so you can hang a light off of it. If you want to, they're a little bit easier to shoot, easier to find in the dark, that sort of thing. But if it's a combination of the two, one that I have found more often than not that's pretty successful and people like, females like especially, is the Glock 43X, because that grip is big enough a guy can be comfortable behind it, but small enough a lot of females with smaller hands can also be comfortable behind it as well. That's been pretty consistent. The XL 365 XL is kind of a second place runner up sort of deal, but those have been recommendations. But again, if it was more on the home defense side, those would not be my suggestions. I'd go one notch bigger if you could.
Yeah, I would say for affordability, and of course, nothing's easy to find right now. We all know that. But I still, and I've played with it. Matter of fact, I have two of them on order, one for my mother-in-law, and one for her best friend. But they just haven't came in yet. And that's the Shield Easy 9, the 9mm, not the 380. Because they both have a little bit of hand issues, just because they're older, but also they're kind of timid. I just think it's a good size handgun, and of course, everybody's going to differ. But it's very easy to rack, very easy to load. I've played around with it, and it's basically I can rack the dang thing with one finger. It seems like. So I think it's good option. But of course, the 48, the 43X, is a good option also as well. So, and they do hold more ammo than the Shield 9, but it's just whatever they put their hands on. I would not recommend a small gun, a little tiny 380 or something like that, because they're really snappy. They're not going to like it. Most of them have pretty horrible triggers. I would get them something that they feel comfortable with in a self-defense or even using at the home. So that's just my opinion, but there's so many different guns out there and availability right now.
Yeah.
LC9, like Rabbi's saying, the LC9, it is available. I'm not a huge fan of the LC9 myself. Not saying it's a bad gun. It's really good priced. I'm just not a huge fan of it myself.
Well, and as you guys know, I was a huge fan of the Shield for a long, long time. And I think it's one of the better concealed carry options on the market still, but there is a caveat. And I've never been one to harp on capacity. That is where we're drifting away from that. We're drifting away from single stacks. We're getting into combos, kind of hybrid stacks or pure double stacks and very small firearms. And so it's making the Glock 43, the PPS M2, the Shield, some of those single stacks a little bit more, I don't want to say obsolete, but not as favorable as some of these other guns that are basically the same price, and you get a few more rounds, a little bit bigger grip. So again, I mean, if somebody gave me a Shield and said, this is what you've got, I'd run with it all day long without a problem, without a frown on my face. But if I could have a few more rounds, why not?
Yeah. And out of an LC9 and a Shield, I would take the Shield personally, just because of its track record. If you get the 1.0, it's super priced on them still. They're very reasonable. They have a lifetime warranty. I mean, it is hard to go wrong on that gun. I still have the Shield 9 and the 45 Shield. So they're great guns, but they are on the smaller side. And you can get +2 extensions for them. So whatever works for you.
Yeah, very true.
Let's see here. Man, these things went flying by.
And a name from the past, Matteo, is here. It's good to see you, Matteo.
Hey, Matteo, how are you doing, buddy? Let's see here.
So, but if somebody handed me a Shield, I'd hit him upside the head with it. Oh, come on now, Bald.
Yeah, well, he does good to speak English, so he doesn't understand. Now, as far as any rifles or anything like that, even for like a first-time gun owner or for a young lady or, the woman of the home, What would you recommend?
So I'm a big fan of PDWs, in 9mm, even 45. I know it doesn't have quite the distance of a true rifle, but who cares if it's just a house sort of thing and you're worried about home protection? I think that's a good option. And then throw a suppressor on it if you have that option as well. I mean, I think that's a great combo. I have the Palmetto AR9 relatively close to me when I'm asleep and that sort of thing, and that's one of my go-to options.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. PCC or PDW type that shoots 9mm or whatever works for you, because it gives them better points of contact. Even training a young child, going from like that to an AR-15, AR-10, something like that. Same controls, have a little fun with it. And those PCCs or PDWs, they are fun as hell to shoot. They eat ammo. I mean, you will blow through a crap load of ammo. So they are a ton of fun. And they will definitely do what you need them to do. Oh, hell, Channel Cat Chaser's in the house too. He's giving us the old Budweiser, what's up? Yeah, and Ranger 10 brings up a good point too. 1022 Charger, it's that little small 22 kind of like pistol-y kind of PDW thing. You could load that thing up and have fun with it too if you needed to. So
yeah, that's true.
I wouldn't depend on a 22 just because of the primer. You're going to get bad primers and things like that sometimes. With for me, it would have to be a center fire type round, just to depend on.
Yeah.
Ooh, here's a good one. Yeah.
You saw that? Oh, no.
I'm sorry. Oh, it went by. Golly, these things are flying. Okay. Scorpion or MPX, and why?
Sorry, DC. So I think they're both good platforms. I'd go MPX all day. Now, it's more expensive, no doubt about it. The magazines are more expensive, so you're going to be shelling out more dollars for that. But that thing is a tank. I still have the MPX. I love it. My one massive criticism with that, as I've gotten more and more into cans, I think I have 7 now, something like that. I've put tri-lugs on several things, including the Scorpion. I run the Omega 45 on that basically permanently, and it's a Scorpion Micro. But it's left-hand thread, so it's whatever 13.5 by 1 or whatever it is for the MPX. So between the tri-lug, and you have to get a little adapter for it, and then the can and the tri-lug adapter in the can, it's really finicky, and it can get all cattywampus. Yes, that's a word, but all crazy because you're trying to screw it on the American way rather than the European way. Yeah. So I really don't run it suppressed very much. Plus, it gets dirty pretty quick, so suppressing it's kind of nasty. But the MPX. All day long. Scorpion's still a great gun, though.
For me, the MPX definitely is cool, but it's heavy. And I know they have different versions, but the ones that I've played with are kind of bulky and kind of heavy, and KS hit it on the head. The mags are expensive and things like that. Scorpion mags are $19. Magpul even has them out now for like 17. Yeah. So they're very inexpensive there. You can set the Scorpion up like you want, just like you could an MPX. I think the MPX is more of a battle style, if you want to say that. But the Scorpions have been through like 1,000-round burn downs. I mean, they've shot the hell out of those things and haven't torn them up. So, it's really comes down to what you want to purchase. Either one of them, you can't go wrong. But the cost to mags and things like that, the Scorpion is definitely cheaper or less expensive, not in quality, just in price. But it really comes down to which one you want to get and which one you're diehard stuck on.
Yeah, that's true.
DC saying he can't buy lock grips because it can't decide on a color. Sucks being a Gemini. Yeah. Yeah. That is the thing about lock. They've got so many damn colors and so many different options and stuff. Surprise, do like, heck, get 2 pair, one that you really like, one that's your daughter's favorite color or whatever. and play around with them. But yeah, and then you can switch them back and forth too. I mean, I tend to stick with some and then run them, change them and run with a different pair just to kind of change up the look a little bit.
Right. So real quick, Pistol Pete was saying, because he was asking me what subsonic rounds I recommend, and I said, anything, preferably 147 grain or heavier is fine. I don't have a preference, but he was saying that he had a squib with a 158 Fiocchi, and so hopefully everybody knows what a squib round is, what happens when that happens. But basically, the round just gets stuck in the barrel. It just kind of putters out of the brass and gets stuck in the barrel. And then if you try and shoot again, hopefully, if you're lucky, your next round just won't load in because the squib is too close to the chamber. But if it does, you've got a much bigger problem. Your gun is done, and hopefully your hand isn't. But unfortunately, squibs can happen with any manufacturer. It doesn't really matter. Better quality manufacturers, better known manufacturers, it can still happen. It's probably going to happen less. But it's one of those things on the range. You have to learn feel and sound and all those. When you've got something that feels radically different or sounds way different, a lot quieter or something, whatever you do, take your finger off that trigger, pop that magazine out, try and rack the slide, or get somebody to help you, whatever you have to do. I've had to clear a few of those, and it kind of takes your breath away a little bit. It's like, man, if they couldn't get that next round in, that would have been the end of that.
I've personally never had one, but I have helped people clear them before. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 in my whole life. And yeah, you got to bust the dowel rod out and hammer and smack it out of there. And sometimes that won't even get them out. You've got to use like an aluminum or a metal or brass like a dowel rod. So sometimes the wooden ones won't work. It just depends on how bad it's sunk in there. But yeah, it can happen on 115, any grain. I mean, I've even seen it on a 22 before. So, anything can happen. So
yeah.
And then if you send another one, hopefully the barrel's strong enough, and it's just gonna keep lining them up. What's so funny is I saw a JP Enterprise video. I think it was like 2 years ago. And this guy sent a barrel back and said his barrel was messed up and it wouldn't let rounds out of it. And they were like, what the hell? So they cut this PC. It was a PCC. They cut this barrel open, and it had bullet after bullet after bullet after bullet. And it just had them lined up in there. And this guy just kept firing it. And I was like, holy hell. I'm surprised the thing didn't explode. But he just kept loading them in there, and he said, he said he would shoot it, and the bullet, he'd look, and it wouldn't hit the paper, and he thought he was missing the paper, and he was saying that he was trying to say that the bullet was, or that the barrel was bent. That's what he was trying to tell him. It's like, no, you were loading up some squigs there, bud, and it will make a very weird noise. It's almost like a pew, it's like a hissy weird noise. It's you just when you hear them, because the guy was next to me when it happened, and it definitely sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about, and I know that we all shoot 9 and that we shoot, AR-15s and stuff like that, but what is your opinion on 7.62 by 39? Do you really have any experience with it?
Yeah, I do. I much prefer 5.56. I mean, cost-wise, availability-wise, I mean, we struggle. I'll be honest with you. We struggle to get in 7.62 by 39. We really do during these times. I mean, and that is kind of illustrating and highlighting the availability of rounds. Centerfire has not ever once run out of 9mm or 5.56 during this whole time. We've run out of basically everything else at one time or another, even though we're in reasonably decent shape right now. But that it just, to me, it illustrates all the things that we've been talking about for years, and some of the importance of being considerate for your really important firearms that you're going to depend on. Think about, parts availability, magazines, ammunition, all that kind of stuff. So, I don't really get all jazzed up about 7.62 by 39.
Yeah. I mean, I think 7.62 by 39 is definitely a very viable round. It's of course it's, more powerful, if you want to say that, than some 5.56s, most. And it's got a little more thump to it. I find myself when I go shoot a 5.56, and I'm just sitting there shooting it. We're playing around with it. It kind of gets boring sometimes because you're getting feedback, but it's usually like bam, bam. It's real loud unless you're shooting suppressed. But where the 7.62 by 39 or the 308 or something like that gives definitely more feedback, and I kind of like to feel the gun, And I know if you're trying to defend your home and things like that, 5.56 is definitely easy. You can carry around more ammo because it's not as heavy, etc. But I catch myself getting kind of bored of 5.56 a lot of the time, so that's why I brought that up. I didn't know if anybody else ever gets bored of 5.56. That's why I shoot a lot of 308. And it's old school, but it's just fun.
Right.
I just love 308.
Now, if I had to go for an alternative round, and this one is also very hard to find in my area, it would be 300 Blackout. And again, because of suppression, I'm more into that now than I was previously. So that's something I would be considerate of. And a short barrel 300 Blackout with a suppressor on it can be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was going, honestly, because of course, the AK 7.62 by 39, is kind of like the Russian and the Soviet type, and then our Americanized version is kind of a 300 Blackout, similar, but they both have their pros and cons. And they, some people will say, oh, 300 is better. Some people say 7.62 by 39 is better. So I know that there's a fight there, but I was just curious, what everyone's feeling was on 7.62 by 39, because you don't hear a lot of people shooting it a lot anymore because of the 300 Blackout or because of lack of finding it. Back in the day, God, 7.62 by 39 was just laying around everywhere, and it was super cheap. So a lot of people were buying it and shooting it and using it for hogs and stuff like that. So I was just curious what your opinion was.
Sure.
And of course, 7.62 by 39 is definitely cheaper than 300 Blackout, and always has been. But
yeah, 300 Blackout's it's not inexpensive.
No,
about that.
Yeah.
So John Gordon has a question or statement more than question, but I thought it was kind of interesting.
Haven't seen 10 millimeter since March. Goodbye. Thoughts of a 10 millimeter pistol? I can still buy 45. What is your opinion?
I thought that was interesting. It was more about the 10 millimeter in general. We were saying a year and a half ago, whatever, the 10 millimeter is kind of the new hotness and everything. I got to be honest with you. I have not seen that so much. I haven't seen as much demand for that as I thought I would. So I was kind of shocked by that. And 10 millimeter is very hard to find. And I would agree with John 110%. That is an ammo that is not nearly as plentiful as 45, although 45 really isn't that plentiful either, but more so than the 10. But I really thought more people would be coming in saying, I really want a 10 millimeter. And that's not true.
Yeah. 10 millimeter, and I've said this forever, even on the chat, 10 millimeter is cool, but it's kind of a novelty. It like even way back before 10 was around, then it kind of faded down, then it came back, then it kind of faded down. Now it's back, now it's down. There's just no consistency there with it. And I'm not saying it's a bad round at all. If you really want to get crazy, get you a 40 caliber plus P, but whatever. And I've always been a 45 fan. 45 is not going to go anywhere, and that is a good thing, like, especially like your NATO type, regular rounds, not boutique or, hey, the hottest, the new hottest thing that's out. But I've shot 10 millimeter, and shooting it, everybody's like, oh my God, it's so powerful. I'm like, it's kind of a little pumped up 40, it just doesn't do anything for me. Not saying it's a bad round, because I know bear country and stuff like that, people love the hell out of it, but I would just shoot a 45, or you could get a 40 plus P if that really, that's really what you want to do. And it'd be a hell of a lot cheaper than buying 10 millimeter. That shit's not cheap.
Or you could make a real statement and go 357 SIG. I still love that round. I really do. I have very little experience with 357 SIG, but I just think it's cool.
Yeah. I shot, Matteo, I wasn't meaning 40 plus. I was just goofing around because Matteo was saying there's no such thing as a 40 plus P. I was meaning like a hot 40 round or 40 round. The thing is back. Oh, here, let me get this off here. Yeah, 357. I mean, I was shooting that forever, when I was a kid, and it is a badass round. I mean, it'll do what you want it to do. However, most people, if they're not used to it, that initial pop or that, initial jolt, they're like, whoa, I'm not going to shoot this. It's intimidating, but it's a great round. I mean,
Yeah.
it will handle what you want to handle. Let's see here.
So Matteo, you'd appreciate this. I was given 4 boxes of 357 SIG. A guy it was in center fire. This was last year, and he's like, "Yeah, hey, I sold my 357 SIG. I have some ammo here. You can have it." So I got 4 boxes of 357 SIG sitting in the basement among other assortments of odd ammo that I don't have a firearm for.
Wow. Well, you never know. Especially now, like if someone needs it, they're like, oh my God, gotta have 357, man. That's some good trade bait too. I mean, you could trade somebody for something that you need, or, to help them out, whatever, I have ammo that I don't even have the guns that it fits. So matter of fact, I got a box right here on the counter. I've got 375 rounds of self-defense and target ammo of 380. I'm about to help a neighbor out. So
there you go.
But yeah, you just you never know. So sometimes it's better just to have some weird stuff.
Yeah. So Indy Irish was asking about frangible ammo a minute ago, and I was saying, not so much for me. So what are your thoughts on frangible ammo?
It looks all impressive when you shoot it into a gel block and you can see everything and stuff, and it is safer if you're going to shoot steel up close and stuff like that. But I think it's kind of like the fad stuff. I don't think it's going to stay around. That's kind of like all the green. Have you seen the green ammo? Do y'all sell any of that stuff that's supposed to be lead free and this free and that free? And I'm like, but it still has, jacket in it. So that, it's not like that's just going to blow away, and it's not like it's paper. So, but they're trying to say, I forget the brand name of it, Eco something or whatever, Eco ammo or something. I saw it advertised and I was like, what the hell? But I just think, regular ammo. Now, if you want to go copper, versus lead or something like that, that's cool too. And I know you shot copper, I've shot copper. I'm not a frangible guy.
Yeah.
I think it's overrated.
I like traditional ammo, hollow points for, home defense, self-defense, that sort of thing. I mean, they're designed for that. I've never really bought into the whole frangible thing. I agree. I mean, they're fun to watch for gel tests and that sort of thing, but no, I'll take tried and true ammo, just regular old everyday ammo.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I shot some frangible ammo at Texas Gun Experience. They had this guy, I guess he might have been a vendor for him or something, but he gave me some to test. It was the most accurate or inaccurate this brand name was. And I think I posted on Instagram a while back, but it was this weird brand and had this little twist. It looked like it was twisting on the front of it. That stuff was the most inaccurate ammo I've ever shot in my life. And it was 9mm. And I was like, this shit's horrible. Matter of fact, I showed it on a live chat. I said, if you test this stuff, it's trash. So let me know if you agree. And I guess no one had shot it because they didn't say anything. But let's see here. Oh, I had a question I was going to bring up. And I know now that you are, well, I won't even get into that. But what do you think as far as not comps, but what do you think as far as, what's the word? Ported guns. I had a question, should I run a comped gun or a ported gun? Do you have a preference on them or anything?
I don't know. I suppose it's all about your application. I mean, I've got comps that I can put on a few firearms, and then I've got a ported barrel that's integral to the barrel. The ported barrel is a ton of fun, but you're stuck with that, right? So you've got that no matter what. And for me, and this is so everybody knows, the Zevtech Hypercomp. If you follow Instagram, I just put a picture out on that the other day. But and it's just a ton of fun to shoot. I mean, it's so fun, but it's louder. There's a lot of smoke that pops up the top, the whole 9 yards and everything. And you're kind of stuck with that. That's what you've got. So I wouldn't carry it. It wouldn't be home defense or anything like that. It's just a fun gun. It's entertainment only. Comps, although I do not run them, I don't like anything that could potentially fall off the barrel of a firearm in a situation. And I know that's my own reservation. I know that generally speaking, they don't if you install them right. But they're a lot of fun to shoot as well. I don't have a preference. I mean, I think they both are effective as long as they're made right. I mean, I've got those Killer Innovations comps, and man, they are a lot of fun. They are a lot of fun to shoot. There's a noticeable difference. But yeah, I don't necessarily have a flavor that I would pick one over the other.
I've shot both, and I mean, I've run a ton of comps on carry guns and shooting guns and stuff like that. And I've shot ported guns, but personally, I don't really see a benefit. It is louder, things like that. And of course, some of the comps can be pretty damn loud too, depending on your ammo that you're running. But as far as the flash signature and, oh my God, there's so much flash, you're going to not be able to see. I call BS on that. I've shot them even both at night or in the dusk. And I couldn't really tell the difference between the two. And really just shooting a regular barrel, it flashes. So, I think they were all three about even. But I prefer comps just personally because they are quieter, and it's kind of not diverting it just up in one mass. If you have multiple, holes, it's just kind of, shooting out the front or the sides or wherever. But I tend to think also that, and this is just my opinion between the ones that I tried, but I think the comp gun you have a little more control of, not as much side to side movement, and that could be just my placebo effect that I felt, but that was my feeling on it. So
I would agree. If the comp has side ports, I guess, or lack of a better word, yes, I think you're right. Whereas at least in the big experience I have, even though I've had a Glock 19C before, but the Zev, I mean, it's just up, and that's it. So, if you've got good control, it's not really going to matter very much. But you're right.
Yeah, what I did on this purposely is I kept a weak left hand on the ported and the comp gun, just comparing them. A buddy of mine had his gun ported, and it was the very similar gun, same size and everything. And what I did is kept a weak left hand on both of them, just to kind of feel them and let them do what they were going to do. And I noticed the ported gun, it would just kind of jump and then it would move left to right, almost like a circular pattern when you shot it. And then the comp gun just went straight up and down. That was with a weak left hand. Now, when I held them both tight, they both kind of did the same thing, but I was just kind of feeling that out. So,
yeah. Well, C makes a good point. A comp would be further out. So it would be, further out from the muzzle or whatever. And it would reduce the muzzle flip a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's probably true. I mean, I buy into that.
Yeah, could be. Yeah. Let's see. Here it is. Right there. Thoughts on Underwood defense ammo?
Hold on, responding to Dan here real quick. I have no thoughts on Underwood. Actually, I've never shot it before. Never once.
I've shot it, but it was now this was a long, long time ago, so I don't know if they've even redone it, but it was pretty intense then. I mean, it's a great round. It did what it was going to do, and we shot some frozen pig heads that I was getting from the butcher way back. This is before I even did YouTube. And we were setting them up on these wooden tables, and we were just shooting them. And it was pretty devastating what it did. And with, I think it was plus P plus or plus P something. I don't remember. It's been so long ago. And it was a pretty damn hot round. So it did what it needed to do. But I don't have enough experience carrying it all the time and doing stuff like that. We only had a box of it. And so we just shot some stuff to try it. But that was when I think it first came out. So I'm sure they've even made it better now. That's kind of what I know. Let's see what Matteo is saying here. I can't see comping or porting a 9mm. I thought one of the great 9mm talking points was it was so controllable.
It's true.
Yeah, and it is. But here's the thing: if you haven't tried it, Matteo, you should try one just to try it, because I've got the regular P10C with no comp, and then I've got the comped P10C also, and I did compare the two just to see. It actually did make a difference. It's not dramatic. You know, I can use 115, 124, 147 and all of them, and they're definitely still controllable. But I was checking for groups, and like I did up close, to where I was just dumping it as fast as I could up close, and a close and far away with the exact same gun, the exact same mag. They both had red dots on them. I did group a lot better, even at speed. And that's what I'm kind of testing it, is like under pressure. If I had to dump 3 rounds or something pretty quick, it was more controllable with the comp. So these are just little tests I do. It could vary for other people, but you should try one if you haven't tried one.
Sorry, hang on a sec.
Okay, you're handling all the other stuff. Let's see here.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. What were you saying? For the
I'm just checking with you. Dan O'Neill's just saying, just get a Glock 17L 9mm.
Hell yeah! If I could find one right now, I would totally pick one up just because.
I've got one.
Yours is a little different.
It is. And matter of fact, what's funny about it? Mine is a 17L comped. It's got a threaded barrel in it, so that damn thing's like 1.5 feet long. It's a big boy. And that's another thing that I'm going to do. A buddy of mine has a chrono, and I'm going to take the 17L with the comp, and I was going to chrono like 115, because from what I hear, I don't know if this is true, and Matteo might be able to say, but out of the 6-inch 17L barrel, a regular 115, when it comes out, it's already equaling plus P on its own. So it's supposed to be really sending it. So that was something I was going to do, is like shoot some Fort Scott, like really light ammo out of it, just to see what kind of numbers we were pulling, because that thing is, it's definitely got to pull some velocity out of it, just because it's so damn long.
Yeah, it's true. Wall Crow, you should totally pick that up.
What is it?
A 17L Gen 2 for sale in Dallas.
Where? No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
No, mine's a Gen 3, but I mean, either or. Let's see here. I know I'm missing something. Yep, here it is right here. Yeah, that 17L is pretty damn crazy. Here it is. Okay. Vanessa Kitty is saying, I purposely searched for a longer barrel, heavier weight firearm to help control the nervous system failure in my right side. The weight dampens the tremor significantly. Yeah. No, I could definitely see that. And, you know, another thing, and I've talked about this before, is, you know, if you've got a clip-on flashlight, you know, like a Streamlight or, you know, whatever it might be, clip that on to your regular pistol when you're shooting, and it will help with the flatness, because you're just hanging a weight on it. You know, if that's something that you want to try, especially for like a home defense gun, it's good to have a flashlight on it. Serves a purpose, but then also it can add extra weight hanging off the front of it, which could help you control it better. So try shooting with a flashlight on your gun and see what you think about it. I mean, don't duct tape it on there, but, you know, make sure it's going to stay on there, not hit you in the face.
We've said this before, and I'll say it again. A little behind-the-scenes secret for a lot of YouTube gun reviews.
Yep.
You'll notice they shoot everything with a light on them if they're filming.
Yep.
Because they want that extra weight. They want to make it look flatter, look better. You know, you get the true story when you take off all the weight. You shoot the raw gun, but some of them won't do it.
Yep. Well, there actually has been professional shooters that were doing tactical shoots. I mean, you know, like it was a tactical class, and they had them filled with lead shot. And there was one YouTuber, I was watching his video. He took his light off of his gun, and he set the light down and kind of dropped it on the table, and it was like, you know, it kind of made a rattle. And I was like, he's probably got that thing loaded with quarters or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you can make them as heavy as you want to. You could even pack tape-on weights in there if you want to.
There you go.
Matter of fact, I don't know if you saw it. Jerry Michalik just put out a video, and there's a company that is making a weight that hangs on the front of your gun. It clips on, and in the front, you can put a tungsten rod. You can change, they've got these little changeable weights. You can put a steel, aluminum, or a tungsten rod in this to make it heavier. And I was like, there you go.
Yeah.
So they're actually selling that thing now. Have I missed any?
No, but we're about at that
yes, we are.
time.
Yes, we are. All right. Well, what do you have coming up?
I do have something coming up. In fact, I've been working on, so the all the photography is done, video at the range. Although I will tell you guys, because you guys are family, there's a lot less range footage than what you're used to. I'm trimming down videos. If I'm doing videos, they're going to be much more to the point, concise, hopefully the same information, but less of me squirreling around and talking too much. So some scripting done and all of that. So now it's a matter of sitting down, getting video done. But I put out a little sneak peek on Instagram. You should be following all of us out there. So anyway, work is being done currently. Awesome.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I'm glad that you're going to put something out. And I already know what it is, but I'm not going to say.
Well, I'm putting it out because somebody sent it to me, and I feel like I need to.
There you go. But yeah, I was gonna say, if you're not following us, because we put out a lot of stuff on Instagram that we don't even do on YouTube. So if you want to see it first, check it out on Instagram. Also for discount links, I've got mine on there. You know, you probably have some stuff on yours, but to help you guys out. But yeah, I definitely want to thank everyone for being on. It's a big thing to have everyone on a Wednesday night to help us. Great questions and everything. We appreciate y'all so much and want y'all to be safe. I have got some shooting that I'm going to be doing. I've got some more testing stuff that was sent in, and then stuff I purchased, and I'm waiting for some more stuff to come in. So, and my other thing is still tied up because it can't get parts. Nobody has parts. So that's a thing I've been waiting on for like 2 months. It's killing me, but I'll have it soon, hopefully. Please, if y'all have any questions afterwards, leave them. We'll try to answer them, and we appreciate it so much. So y'all take care.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Carry on, everyone.